The disappearance of Maura Murray on February 9, 2004, is one of the most perplexing mysteries in modern American history. The story begins in Amherst, Massachusetts, where Maura, a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, was attending classes and leading what seemed to be an ordinary life. She was a bright, athletic young woman with a promising future. Yet, beneath the surface, a series of events in the days and hours leading up to her disappearance hinted at a deeper complexity. On the evening of February 5th, Maura was working her shift as a campus security guard. During her shift, she reportedly broke down in tears for reasons that remain unclear. When her supervisor arrived, Maura was described as inconsolable, though she never disclosed what had upset her. She was sent home early, marking the beginning of a series of puzzling behaviors. Over the next few days, Maura's actions grew increasingly strange. She emailed her professors and work supervisors on February 9th to inform them that there had been a death in her family and that she would be taking some time off. However, there had been no death in her family. Maura then packed up her belongings, including clothes and toiletries, and placed them in her car. Among the items she took were personal effects and some of her textbooks, as though she were preparing for an extended trip. At 3:15 p.m. that same day, Maura withdrew $280 from an ATM, nearly emptying her bank account. Surveillance footage confirmed that she was alone. She then went to a nearby liquor store and purchased about $40 worth of alcohol, including a box of Franzia wine and some hard liquor. Again, surveillance footage showed that she was alone. At around 4:30 p.m., she left the university campus and set off in her black Saturn sedan, heading north. Maura's destination remains a mystery. She did not inform her friends, family, or boyfriend of her plans. She drove through New Hampshire, a state she was familiar with from previous trips, possibly heading towards the White Mountains. It's speculated that she may have been seeking solace in the wilderness, as she had visited the area before. At approximately 7:27 p.m., Maura's car was involved in a single-vehicle accident on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, near the small village of Woodsville. Her car struck a snowbank, damaging the front end and rendering it inoperable. A local resident, Butch Atwood, a school bus driver, noticed the crash and stopped to offer assistance. He later described Maura as appearing shaken but uninjured. She declined his help, stating that she had already called ADAA, which was later proven to be untrue as there was no cell service in the area. Atwood left her and drove to his nearby home, where he called 911 at 7:43 p.m. Meanwhile, another resident reported seeing Maura's car from her window and noted that the vehicle's hazard lights were on. By the time the police arrived on the scene at approximately 7:46 p.m., Maura was gone. Her car was locked, and there was no sign of her in the surrounding area. Inside the vehicle, officers found an empty box of wine on the rear seat and some spilled wine in the front. They also discovered a printed email to Maura's boyfriend regarding his alleged infidelity, along with her college textbooks and a packed bag. There were no signs of a struggle, and Maura's belongings, including her debit card and phone, were missing, leading investigators to believe she had left the scene on foot. The search for Maura began almost immediately. Law enforcement and volunteers scoured the wooded area surrounding the crash site, employing dogs, helicopters, and thermal imaging cameras. Despite their efforts, no trace of Maura was found. Footprints in the snow suggested she may have walked east along the road, but they led to no definitive location. The lack of clues only deepened the mystery. As the investigation unfolded, several theories emerged. One posits that Maura intended to disappear voluntarily. The email to her boyfriend, her fabricated story about a family death, and her packed belongings suggested that she might have been planning to leave her life behind. Yet, those who knew Maura found this difficult to believe. She was close to her family and had made plans for the near future, such as booking spring break accommodations with her boyfriend. Another theory is that Maura fell victim to foul play. The area where she disappeared is remote with limited traffic, especially at night. It is plausible that she may have been picked up by someone who harmed her. However, no evidence of an abduction or struggle has ever been found, and no credible witnesses have come forward. An alternative theory is that Maura succumbed to the elements. February in New Hampshire is brutally cold, and temperatures on the night of her disappearance were below freezing. If Maura had wandered into the woods, she could have suffered from hypothermia. Yet, extensive searches of the area have yielded no remains, and the terrain's difficulty would likely have made her survival beyond that night improbable without assistance. Over the years, numerous tips and sightings have been reported, but none have been substantiated. In 2011, a human bone fragment was discovered in the vicinity of the crash site, but forensic testing ruled out any connection to Maura. In 2021, ground-penetrating radar was used to investigate a property near the crash site following a tip, but nothing significant was uncovered. Maura's case has captivated true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths worldwide. Online forums and podcasts dedicated to her disappearance have dissected every known detail, but the sheer lack of concrete evidence has left the case wide open to speculation. Her family continues to advocate for answers, maintaining a website and offering a reward for information. The mystery of Maura Murray endures because it defies easy explanation. Each clue seems to raise more questions than it answers. Why did she fabricate the story about a family death? Where was she going? What happened after she left her car? And why has no trace of her been found, despite the extensive searches and publicity surrounding her case? The disappearance of Maura Murray remains one of the most baffling and haunting cases in recent memory. It is a story of unanswered questions and shattered lives, a reminder of how easily someone can vanish without a trace, leaving only echoes of their existence behind.